What up? What up? What up? Welcome to Straight to the Point Radio, where you got myself and Steve.
What's going on, New Bedford? Here for another week.
Hope you guys are ready.
What we got going on this week? Just Mr. D-Con. Noticed some unhappy news in the NFL for you.
We're still the number one seed right now, bro. So
all right. But what did you think of that game last week? Because that was against AFC power, and it looked like a battle of attrition. Like both teams had great offenses, but they couldn't stop each other. But at the end of the day, you guys had a lot of injuries, and one on offense that could be really, really major.
Yeah, well, at first they were talking about him being out for the rest of the season, but now they're going for a third opinion.
MCL and something else.
They're going for a third opinion right now because it wasn't torn, it was sprained. So now they're going for a third opinion. They say he might be out 3 to 4 weeks. We'll see what happens, and if he comes back healthy for the playoffs, then that helps us out.
All right. Well, how much pressure does it put on Jamal Gibbs and Jared Goff? Because Goff, I thought, didn't have to worry about passing all the time because he had the double-headed monster, and you didn't know to prepare for Montgomery or Gibbs. It kept him fresh. Do you think they'll rely more on the passing game, or can Gibbs handle that everyday workload?
I think, in my opinion, I think what they're going to do is they're gonna cut down the run a little bit. They're gonna feed Gibbs probably about between 18 to 22 times, and then and we're gonna see why we paid Mr. Goff and Mr. St. Brown.
Well, St. Brown can't throw the ball to himself, so he needs Goff to do that. I think St. Brown is St. Brown. He finds a way to get open. It's just the Jekyll and Hyde story with Mr. Goff. One day he looks like a top 5 quarterback, and the next day, I mean, he's had a couple of games this season, 12 for 12, 15 for 15.
18 for 18,
yeah.
NFL record.
But
just going to have to step
You know what I think is sometimes you can be a victim of your own success, and this is what I mean. The running game was working so good, they didn't pass as much. You kind of get out of the rhythm of passing. Sometimes it takes you a few passes to get into your rhythm.
Yeah.
Now that there's no Montgomery, they might mix in more passing plays.
Don't get it twisted. We still have two decent backup running backs
but they're not David Montgomery style.
No, they're not. But
you know who I think is going to benefit?
Now you got to worry about Gibbs more.
Yes, but I think they'll go back to Laporta a lot now. The short passing game, it'll almost be like an extended handoff. 5 yards downfield, throw him the ball, and he's a good runner after the catch.
Yeah.
And then they still got St. Brown and Jameson Williams coming on.
And
their offensive lines there.
Patrick, he's been stepping it up the last few weeks.
Yeah, I'm surprised he stayed healthy this long. The last 2 years in a row, he was done in preseason.
Hey, it's all about the culture, bro. You might have a good culture. The coaches that they had back in Denver weren't too well liked, I should say. But we'll see what happens.
All right.
Man.
I don't really think I think the offense can recover more than what your defense. You want to talk about what happened to your defense as far as major injuries that all seem to happen this week?
There's the thing about it. We lost at the beginning of the year. We lost Davenport. We lost Hutch.
Lost Hutch a while ago.
Matter of fact, let me just put it this way: from the 11 starters that we had week 1 against the Rams, we only have 3 remaining.
Now, who are the ones? The key was what's his name? Aleem McNeil, who was playing great.
Pro Bowl tackle probably at the time.
Nose tackle, right? So he's clogging up the middle. Hutchison on the end.
Yep.
Is Brian Branch healthy yet?
Yeah,
he goes hurt.
He's
Who's
the
white linebacker?
And Alex Anzalone.
Okay, these are all big names. Yeah. There's somebody else I'm missing, and I want to say it's on the defensive line, but McNeil, Hutchinson, and there's somebody else that got hurt. They named 4 people. 3 of them were defense, and 1 of them was your running back.
McNeil, Hutch.
No, Hutch was already out. There was 3 that went out last week on defense. The linebacker.
Oh, it was a backup corner. And Davis.
Oh, that's right. Cornerback or something, right?
Cornerback Davis went out.
But wasn't he a free agent? Yeah, he broke his jaw. So you got 3 people that are playing on a regular basis.
Yeah. Just off of last week.
And then you already had one of the game's best defensive ends out already. Brian Branch has just come back from
Well, he
He's
hasn't,
playing
he hasn't
hurt.
really gone out, but he's playing still.
Mhm.
But he's not. I don't think he's 100%, but he's playing.
So at one point, it seemed like your defense was
Top five.
getting a rhythm. Yeah.
Yeah, top
And you
five.
already had an offense,
Yep.
and now everything was clicking.
Yep.
Now the things I'm concerned with is you're going to have to get into a shootout with everybody. And we've seen that happen the last couple of weeks. And this week it finally caught up to him because Buffalo was able to,
We ran into,
especially with a depleted defense.
we ran into a Mr. Allen that
Right.
playing
But
unbelievable.
even playing at home, you know, Buffalo was able to win pretty substantially. So
Substantially, they only won by 6.
well, didn't Detroit?
48-42.
Yeah, it was. But Detroit scored the last thing with a couple of minutes to go. I mean, I'm just saying it was a 2 touchdown game. Detroit got that last, but I just felt like you could have scored, but you couldn't stop nobody from scoring. So if that game had gone to overtime,
They're playing with third stringers. That's kind of tough.
and that's my point.
But from here on out, how many offenses are we going to see that are like Buffalo?
No, but I know Minnesota's going to be able to score. Do you play Green Bay again?
Nope.
Who's your other 2 games besides Minnesota?
San Fran and Chicago.
Well, San Fran's down this year.
And Chicago's ass.
But if I play devil's advocate, let's say you guys lose us. Now you're going to still be hurt round 1. You're going to have to play in the first round.
Wait a minute. So who's to say that Philly's going to win out? They don't get me wrong.
Philly plays Dallas and
Washington.
They got Washington this week and the Giants.
Yeah, but Washington's tough.
Washington's tough.
Washington's playing to get somewhere.
They are, but Philly's healthy, right?
But
so I have to give Philly the nod right now just because they're healthy.
If I'm not mistaken, they're playing in Washington.
Yeah, which will be, but
it's not going to be
Washington and Philly are 2 hours away, bro.
Yeah, but
it's not like it's
not, but it's still
not a major road trip.
Not easy. Not easy. In the comments. And if I'm not mistaken, Minnesota's coming to Detroit.
Yeah, they are. There we go.
Johnny Sylvia, what's up, bro? My man Sal. So yeah, Minnesota. You thinking you're gonna get that win already?
I'm just saying it's a possibility. I'm not. I'm trying to be a realist right here.
But
I know you want to think the glass is half full, and I'm thinking your defense is going to be a problem. So you're going to get into shootouts. With your defense in the condition it is, I think Minnesota can put up points. Will you be able to stop Minnesota enough times before that offense?
What up, Greg?
Greg, what's going on? You can be neutral on this topic, sir. We all saw Detroit's been the number 1 seed all season long. It happens to be Derek's team, but they lost 4 key starters and David Montgomery last week. Would you still consider the Lions the top seed? I think Philly's now definitely the top seed.
As of right now, you have to say we're the top seed because we are the top seed right now. There's nothing you can say, about it.
One over Philly now?
Yes, as of right now, we are the number 1.
Why? Because of strength of schedule or something?
It doesn't matter.
I'm just wondering. I know they got the same record.
It's got to be, but as of right now, we are the. If the season was to end right now, Detroit would be the number 1 seed.
They're the number 1 seed, but my thing is they do have 3 games left,
and so does everybody else.
Point.
And so does everybody else.
I know, but
we're gonna do what Mr. Dan Campbell says. Next man up.
Okay. And you're also going to have him being Riverboat Ron over there, too. He's going to have to do it more than ever now.
Hey, but there's one thing you got to realize. We're not going to face Buffalo again until the Super Bowl.
I'm not worried about Buffalo. I'm only worried about the teams.
But you're talking about how our defense got smashed.
Because your defense has given up points like the last 3 weeks in a row.
Let's see your defense or any team in the league lose 7 starters, 8 starters. And then see how they.
You're missing.
No, I'm not.
You're missing a point.
But you keep throwing it at.
Because I'm saying you got to be a realist. Yeah, you got.
I'm being a realist.
That team is not as good as they were 3 weeks ago.
And no team would be.
And I understand that, and I'm giving you credit for that. All I want you to do is be realistic. That you identify your defensive injuries.
And I did.
And say we're not as strong as we.
And I did. But basically,
so what's the possibility?
What you want me to say?
On to that 1 seed.
What you want me to say is that we're going to lose to Minnesota. That's what you want me to say.
No. I'm saying you got 3 games left, and anybody can jump up and beat you.
And anybody can jump up and beat. And anybody can jump up and beat anybody else. My offense isn't weak.
It's weaker.
We're not weak.
David Montgomery is a huge
We
dog.
are not weak.
Weaker. You're not the power. You're not rolling on all cylinders like you were when your defense was top 5. Your offense was top 5. That combination made you guys damn near unbeatable.
My offense is the best
Here's
right now.
the problem. When your team's going well, we're giving you your due and we're giving you credit because your team's accomplishing, but they're not that team right now. So there's a possibility they may not hold on to that number 1 seed. And
But there's a key word, may not. But right now we are number 1.
And my question is, do you think they'll be able to hold on to it?
We're gonna have to.
That's what every team would say. But I'm just saying, in light of the injuries, do you think you feel confident?
So basically, you're gonna keep saying this to say, no, Steve, we're gonna lose. We're gonna lose the first round. We're gonna lose route.
Can anybody not name Derek Kahn chime in?
That's
Homer is not gonna.
But you keep saying that that's the same thing over and over. So
because I feel
so basically until I say
just in defense
until I say yes, Steve, we're gonna lose. We're not gonna move on.
No, I said, what's the possibility? I said, do you think there's a possibility that your team could fall out of the number 1 seed in light of the injuries? Is there a possibility? And you've gotten very defensive.
And I also said there's a possibility that Philly falls out too.
But Philly's not.
See, there we go. But Philly's not. But there's that possibility.
All right, we're not gonna be able to continue this part of the debate.
But because you keep saying there's a possibility. All right, there's a possibility.
All right, here's the realistic thing, and then I won't say nothing else. Philly's healthy right now. Minnesota's healthy right now. Detroit was the number 1 seed in my mind all year. All right, Greg's agreeing with you. Let me see. He is correct. They are the top seed right now. Right now, yeah. They have been the best team. I agree. Sam Darnold will return to the same. He might, yeah. But that just talks about Minnesota. What about compared to Philly? My only issue, Greg, is those other 2 teams are healthy right now. And if Detroit can't get healthy, they're not the same dominant team they were when they had everything as a whole. That's like saying, Tatum or somebody gets hurt on the Celtics. You can't expect them to be at their peak if they're losing their main cogs, correct?
I don't know, but as far as I can see, we've been losing defensive players all season long.
It's never been this bad.
We've been losing players all season long, and it's been the next man up. That's what I'm trying to say.
All right. So, all right, Nate. So with that argument, if they stub their toe this week, next week we can't use the excuse that everybody was hurt. Because I tried to give you that platform now to just say how devastating those injuries are. But y'all like next man up. We're still the number 1.
That's what we have to do.
Okay. So if they stub their toe next week, I'm not going to accept that argument that it was because of the injuries. Because this week you're just saying we're number 1. We're number 1 as of right now. And I'm just being realistic saying it's going to be hard to stay number 1. Because you've been unfit, not unfairly, but unfortunately been given all these.
I didn't say it wasn't going to be hard.
And that's all I wanted to discuss with you was how hard is it going to be now? Because when you were healthy, it wasn't this hard. I would have had you guys rated as number 1 going forward as long as you stayed healthy. I've never seen one team in a short period of time that was contending lose so many vital people.
And it hurts.
It does. So I'm saying that's super hard to overcome.
So, but I'm not
saying that
downplay my. I'm not going to just downplay my team and say, "No, yeah, we're not going to win."
But you're also not facing the facts that they are hurt. It's going to be a huge.
I said we are hurt. My next thing was next man up. That's what it has to do.
Stub your toe, Johnny. A Vikings fan saying the Lions are for real. I agree.
And then you got another Vikings fan saying you got to worry about the Packers.
I agree because the Packers are healthy too. I'm just saying.
The Packers are on the road.
If for some reason they slip up and they're not the number 1 seed, they'd have to play that first round before they get their healthy. If they hold on to the number 1 seed, they got that extra week to get healthy. I think Mitchell's out for the whole year, though, right? Who's the defensive tackle? McNeil.
Yeah, he's out.
He's out for the whole year.
He's out.
Hutchinson is only if you make it to the Super Bowl. Yeah. But you've been playing well without Hutchinson. So I wasn't so concerned because you guys' defense was still playing good. But McNeil, that run stopper, now people might be able to run. He was having an all-pro season.
We got DJ Reader, too, that's over there.
Reader just came back, right?
Reader's been –
he was off and on, yeah.
He missed 1 game. And Broderick Martin just came back.
All right, Derek said that as well.
Broderick Martin's gonna come back. And he's going to have
Mike, I see it. I would just mention another Vikings fan. I see you. I'm just surprised so many people, Wait a minute. They are not as banged up as San Fran. Yeah, and it's easier for the defensive guys to step in than offensive guys. Would you agree or not? Well, yeah, because an offensive guy knows where they're going, and a defensive guy has to react. So it's going to be harder for the second line or third line to come in and be able to defend the first team of everybody else. I'm just saying, from what I've seen happen to Detroit, and they might be in my division, but I don't wish injuries on nobody.
No,
I want to see every team try to be as healthy as possible and let the smoke clear, and whoever wins wins. But if for some reason they don't make it, I'll feel like it's less of an accomplishment because we beat a very injured Detroit team. You know, like
so what happens if you don't beat a very injured Detroit team?
then Detroit was next man up and was able to overcome the obstacles
And
that
that-
maybe no other
and-
team was able to do in their position.
And we've done that a lot this year. Before last week, we had 18 guys out. Before last week.
But your defense was ranked in the top 5 throughout because the people who got hurt weren't as big.
All right.
Hutchinson was huge.
So we had
but you traded for another team.
we had McNeil out from last
Came
week.
back.
McNeil last week. Davis last week. And a backup cornerback that was out that got hurt last week. So
And
that
the
basically
linebacker.
that wasn't
Angeloni,
last week.
wasn't he
That wasn't
earlier?
that wasn't last week. He got hurt weeks ago.
So he's just been out.
He's been
I
out.
thought he came back and got hurt again.
No, he's been out. And we still doing what we're doing until last week.
Okay.
But we played a hell of a Buffalo team last week. You can't take nothing away from Buffalo.
I'm not. But the week before, Buffalo didn't look good. They got handed,
And they still and they put up 44 points.
they're just
42 points.
when a quality team can be a quality team. Which one do you fear most? The injury on offense or the collaboration of defense? Is Montgomery going to have the same effect on offense? I think your offense is so good you
I
can.
won't know because until we play this week.
It's just he's the short yardage guy, and Gibbs is that
Yeah,
juke.
but we have
that
two
tough running inside.
we have two guys that are on the roster that play special teams that can probably help us out with that. We don't have to depend on one. If we need that short, we got two guys that can do that. That's on the roster.
All right. Well, either way, it's going to be a tough battle.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That NFC is shaping up to be so competitive. We're going to still say you got Detroit and Philly sitting at the top. You got Minnesota and Green Bay lurking. And I wouldn't want to face Tampa Bay in the first round because of the way
honestly,
Baker Mayfield's been playing.
Honestly, I wouldn't want to face the Rams.
That too. So even some of the teams. So that was what I was going to try to get to was only one team gets a bye. So that number one seed has to be Philly or Detroit. If Philly beats them out and you got to play in that first round, that's one less week to get some of the healthy.
We needed to get that out. We need this. I don't know how long we've been doing the show, but me and you haven't got like that in a while. We needed that.
Yeah, well, I feel Buffalo played their game, and even if you stayed healthy, Buffalo might have been the better team that day. But I would have said going forward, they're not going to play like that all the time because you would have had all your healthy players.
Yeah.
Decon, let's get it clear. All season long, I put Detroit and Philly and Detroit. My only difference, and I'm trying to point out, is Philly's maintained their health. They got all their guns right now, so that gives them an advantage going forward these last 3 games because they don't have to have next man up attitude. Detroit has so much more to overcome than Philly does. So I just feel like they're not on the same level right now because they're working with a lot less. If you took Saquon off that offense, if you took Jalen Carter and some of the other people off that defense, there are going to be some holes. There's going to be some advantages people can exploit. Mikey, I do believe that. I think we have the best division in football because even the Bears are capable. I just don't like their play calling, but I was like, but Green Bay, Detroit, and Minnesota, I've never seen 3 teams be that dominant.
3 out of the 4 teams in the playoffs.
Right.
Out of that one division.
Yep.
And that used to be the NFC East back in the day. Not anymore.
So let's just do what we did last week. Give your top 4 seeds in order. NFC.
What do I think they're going to finish or right now?
Well, when I say right now, I have to take into effect the injuries happened last week. So now it changes my perspective. But whichever way you want to say, you want to say for the end of the season, because we know McNeil's not coming back. Hutchinson's only coming back if they make it to the Super Bowl. How long is Angeloni out for?
Angeloni out. He'll be out for another couple, like probably 2 more weeks. He should be back for the Minnesota game.
Okay.
So
you want to say right now, or let's say right now, who are your top 4 teams in ranking right now?
I'm gonna go Detroit, Philly, Green Bay, Minnesota.
Okay.
You could flip those two if you want.
I'm going to say, Philly, Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay. Green Bay hasn't beaten Minnesota yet. Detroit has. Green Bay has shown me some weaknesses on offense and defense. The strong point, because Love has not been playing like he did at the beginning of the year before he hurt that knee or whatever.
Actually, I think Love's playing better now than he was in the beginning of the year, in my opinion.
The one that's really playing well for them to me is Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
That dude has been beasting. Outside of Saquon Barkley, he might be the most dominant running back in the NFC on a consistent basis. Remember, he's a one-man show. You guys take away from each other because they split.
And Gibbs still put up just about the same numbers.
Yeah. But Barkley in the NFC has hands down been the most valuable running back to me.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Right.
That's in the whole league.
But then Josh Jacobs,
that's a whole league.
even though he had the critique of not being able to catch, they've been having him catch the ball a little bit now, and he's been running hard.
He's tough. He's a big boy.
He's been dominating. So he gives them the running game. Then I can see them kind of catching up to say what Detroit has, except they got 2 running backs. But just the fact that they can run the ball and pass the ball. They're not one-dimensional no more.
Yeah.
When you had both running backs, I was like, this is almost unfair. You guys got the best offensive line in football. And then you got 2 running backs.
That's a key right there.
But I'm not denying
that's
that.
a key. So when you have a good offensive line, you don't need one of the best running backs back there. You need a decent running back. If you have a decent running back where he's getting 3-4 yards a pop and he's a backup, that's going to help out big time.
Somebody who fits the system. The backups may indeed fit the system, but they're not as talented as David Montgomery. David Montgomery he runs inside tough. He's your inside guy.
Yep.
He can catch the ball out of the backfield, even though Gibbs is better. But that's the problem. You start saying, "Oh, Gibbs ain't in, they're going to run," and then they pop Montgomery out of, and you're like, "We didn't think he'd catch the ball out of the backfield." You guys haven't used. Yeah, Greg, I agree, but he's had a great year this year, so I take nothing away from him. But his line's not as good as Detroit's line. He's doing it more on his own, but he's just making it happen. You guys, everybody's talking about Sam Laporta hasn't had the great year like he did last year. Nobody expected him to have that year he had last year. And now this year, your running game has gotten so elite that St. Brown's catching the ball less. Laporta's. The problem is St. Brown's catches are all huge.
You said St. Brown's catching the ball less. He has 95 catches. He's second in the league in catches.
Is he?
He's second in the league in catches. I think he's third in the league. Third or fourth in the league.
I feel like he was being utilized more last year. Laporta definitely was. And then Jamison Williams has stepped up this year.
Chase is number 1. St. Brown's number 2. Lamb's number 3.
In receptions?
Yeah.
Nah, Jefferson got to be up there.
Nope. Jefferson was like 6th or 7th.
And I would attribute that to the oncoming of Addison. Addison has been all right, taking up some of those spots for us. But
Jamar Chase, number 1 at 102. Amon St. Brown, 95. CeeDee Lamb, 94. Brock Bowers, 90. Malik Neighbors, 90. Trey McBride, 89. Yeah, 89 catches and no touchdowns.
Two tight ends are in the top of that list. That surprises me.
Jackson Smith and Enigma, 85. Travis Kelce, 84. Garrett Wilson, 84. Justin Jefferson, 82.
Okay. Some of the guys I wasn't aware that Brock Bowers and Trey McBride, especially Brock Bowers, because he hasn't played with a number 1 quarterback all year, but he's a rookie learning the system.
He's the only one catching the ball over there.
Jacoby Myers got hurt a little bit.
Yeah, he was out for a bit.
All right. So no matter how we shake it up, everybody's going to agree Detroit, Philly, or Philly, Detroit for number one seed.
Yeah, of course.
Derek's got the heart and soul of his royal blue,
Yeah.
and I'm just trying to be a realist, saying I already had Philly and Detroit flip flopping even last week when Detroit was healthy, and that's the only reason I give Philly an advantage is because if they were flip flopping when Detroit was healthy, and then Detroit had these massive injuries all at once, they're not the same Detroit team that was flip flopping last week. They dropped a little bit as far as in comparison to Philly. I still think they're above Minnesota. I still think they're above Green Bay. I just say there's a clear number one right now. You kept thinking I was waiting for you to say Minnesota. I was just waiting to say yes, only because we could go back and forth because they both were doing the damn thing on offense and defense. But you can't, if we took off 4 players off Philly's crew, you don't think Detroit would have a clear number one? You wouldn't be telling me Detroit's a clear number one if we took Jalen Carter, a linebacker, their best pass rusher, and then their running back off their team, and that wouldn't take from being even the score to there's a slight advantage now because you guys didn't lose nobody. That's my whole thing.
Well, I don't know.
That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to
to
discredit Detroit.
You can call me a homer because I am, and I'll say it.
What up, Gerald Walker? I'm just saying you're passionate about your team. You don't want to think about the injuries. You want to focus on what you got right now, and I get that. But as a realist, if my team all of a sudden said no JJ, or if we lost Grenade or Van Ginkel right now, my defense is going down. Me losing Grenade and Van Ginkel might be the equivalent of you just losing Hutchinson. But then you lost. It takes our 2 players to equal. But the way McNeil's been playing, I think people are really underestimating how good of a year that guy was having.
No, he was having a great year.
When you lose a nose tackle, you don't have somebody taking up two blockers no more. You don't have somebody run stuff.
We have Rita. DJ Rita's going to take up 2 blockers.
McNeil was having a better year.
But Rita was getting the double teams. McNeil was.
So you expect Rita to be able to have the same impact as McNeil. When they played together, you pick your poison.
But that's where Broderick Martin's going to have to step up.
Have to. But I just feel like it's a drop off from
when he gets playing time, he's in there.
Except for what's his name, Aaron Donald. I don't know many nose tackles. Oh, and the dude in Kansas City, Chris Jones. Nose tackles are supposed to take up space and stop the run.
Yeah.
But these guys are in the backfield chasing the quarterback too. That's what makes McNeil so. I don't know if those other guys might do one or the other. I don't think they'll get the pass rush. They might be able to clog the middle a little. But you're getting that extra element with McNeil because not only is he clogging the middle and eating up 2 blocks, he's still getting in the backfield and chasing your quarterback.
Yep.
That's a big advantage to have.
And we get Iffy back this week too. So
who?
Iffy Malafau.
If he comes back, if he does.
No, he's coming back. He's coming back. So that's going to help. We can either move him to that other safety because he was a safety before Branch.
Mm-hmm.
Move him back to the other safety and move Branch to the corner, so that helps out a little bit. Or if he can play corner, because if he played corner at Syracuse as well, so we'll see what that's going to help out that cornerback issue.
All right. So
let's go. How do you feel that your team going to do?
I think
you got a tough schedule.
We got a tougher schedule than you guys
for the last 3.
I don't think we can improve any more than 5 because if you hold out, we can't. The highest we can be is a 5 because all the division winners, and I don't think that's fair because I don't think we're the 5th best team in the NFC. Whoever comes out, Atlanta's failing, they're falling, and we're going to get into that story next because there was a big quarterback change there, and I'd be curious to see all our knowledgeable sports followers right now tell us what's going to happen with the Falcons now that Michael Penix is getting his chance. And it's for the whole season. And that leads to a whole nother debate as what do you do with Kirk Cousins?
Let's get back to that later. Let's get on this.
So
let's get back to this
Minnesota
thing.
We've been sneakily missing a guy who changes our defense, and he's underrated so much in Ivan Pace. He's back this week.
Ivan Pace is either safety?
No,
linebacker.
He's a linebacker, but he lives in the backfield.
Number 0?
Yeah, he's undersized. Yep, number 0.
Yep.
He's undersized, played at Cincinnati. He's undersized, and for whatever reason, he finds a way to cause havoc on the field. Like you can't keep Nobody drafted him. Everybody thought size mattered. Sometimes it's not the fight of the it's the fight of the hot. The how hard how much hot you have the fight, because yeah. And this guy has more hot, and he doesn't believe that he can't beat bigger guys. He can't outquick them. He can't outpower. He's in the backfield causing havoc, chasing the quad, and then they run right into, a Grenade or a Van Ginkel or something. But he's the guy that caused the chaos.
That sounds like number 11 for the Dallas Cowboys. Kind of similar players. I don't really follow.
He's nowhere in the league of number 11, but number 11 is physically taller and thicker. I'm just saying, Pace is 5'10", 215 pounds.
So he's a little.
He's a little guy.
I thought you were saying little.
He's a little guy.
Lightweight.
He's a little guy because even in college, he didn't get big name scholarships. He played at Cincinnati, but they also had Sauce Gardner and some, DJ Ritter and a couple other guys that made him a good college team. This guy was playing All-American status, and still people didn't give him his credit. When it came time for the draft, he had the most tackles in the country. He was up there in sacks. He did everything that the prototypical linebacker did, but he made, he didn't get the credit. When it came to draft time, nobody drafted him. He went undrafted. Minnesota picked him up as a unsigned free agent, undrafted free agent. He's playing like a second-round draft pick right now. You know what I mean? He's coming back, and that's a big weapon for us defensively. I want our defense to be able to keep it close, because even though I don't know if I really trust Sam Darnold yet, I trust him more than I trust Aaron Jones right now, because Aaron Jones, he gets hurt. He's been playing through injuries. He's kind of a loss.
Did you guys lose another lineman last week?
Yeah, Brian McNeil, but he's back this week. They just didn't bring him back in the game.
Okay.
But Dalton Risner played in his place.
Yeah.
So he's fresh. He just came back.
And the left tackle is done for the season, correct?
Darisaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's my equivalent to like you guys losing Hutchinson. Like, I can't count on him. He's gone for the year, but that's a major blow when he's a top 5 offensive lineman, and Hutchinson could be a top 3 defensive lineman. Those are huge impact people. I see him. I don't want to mention his name. Mr. Parsons.
I know his name. I didn't want to say it.
We only talking about playoff teams this week, Manu. Only kidding. We know his name, and I take nothing away from him, but he's been playing hurt too. He's not his usual dominant self because of injuries. But hey, if they're all healthy, he's one of the top defensive people I'm taking if I'm starting from ground zero and building a defense. I have no problem taking him as one of my first picks,
As a pass rusher.
Yeah.
Not as a.
But if you line him up and move him all over,
not as an everyday.
No, but he's a game changer.
Yes.
He's a game changer. You have to account for somebody.
But if they're running the ball, he's not the best run stopper. Let's put it that way.
So right now, because Derek asked about the Vikings, I still think the Vikings are below Detroit.
I wasn't asking for that.
No. I'm saying, because people are saying, rank your teams or whatever. I still think Philly's the clear number 1 now, just because of the injuries. I still think Detroit's number 2, but I still think Minnesota's over Green Bay. You had Green Bay over Minnesota, and I'm flabbergasted as to why, because we've already beaten them in Green Bay.
Yeah, but that was in the beginning of the season.
It was, but you beat us, and you keep reminding me how you already beat us. You beat us in Minnesota.
I didn't bring that up. You did.
No, you brought that up when I was talking about. You said you want me to say Minnesota, and I was like, no.
But I didn't say anything about us beating you. But we did. But I don't know.
Jonathan, I agree.
Just that.
But Hunter's not. He's talking about turning the defensive end. He's not getting to play as much. He's played well the last 3 games, but he's playing behind Grenade and Van Ginkel,
them guys,
who are going to be first and second team All Pros.
Them guys are playing well right now.
That's like playing behind Pippen and Jordan. Like, you're good, but you're not getting on the court as long as them guys. Here's our sponsor. The commercial's in the making.
I think Green Bay's been playing tough right now. Trust me, I don't like Green Bay at all. But I'm
probably one of the few people that doesn't hate the teams in our division, because I like the style Detroit plays, and I know they've been down forever. I like watching them as long as they're not playing Minnesota. Same thing with Green Bay.
Yeah.
I like the style. I like the way their teams are built. I like the style they play. But goddamn, they all got to be in our division.
Bradford's QB. Who's Bradford's QB? You mean Sam Donald?
Yeah, Manute, man, you went back a few quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Bradford was the last guy that had to replace somebody when they got hurt. Minnesota doesn't get the respect, but I think that's because nobody sold on Donald. They keep thinking that, and I'm one of them, that we keep thinking Donald's eventually going to drop the ball.
You think about the Jets, Donald, when you say Donald. When you hear Donald, Sam Donald, you think about the Jets.
It's just hard for me to believe, but hey, man, we're in week 15 this week. And so far he's been more good than bad.
I'm gonna say this, and I believe I said this to you before a few times. Is
the other Sam?
In my opinion, Minnesota has the best offensive receivers in the game.
Well, I really like what Addison's done this year. He stepped up so much.
And not for nothing, but they basically make any quarterback look good. You had two backups last year. They made both of them quarterbacks look good.
You don't think Mr. Goff is benefiting from that same situation? And we don't have the best offensive line by a long shot. You guys have the best offensive line, two good receivers, two good running backs, a good tight end. There's not one weak spot on your damn offense. Oh, wait. Riverboat Ron, the coach. I forgot about that.
I don't know. But
4th and 21 from my 7, I'll go for it.
Oh, my hit this guy.
Yeah, he might.
Oh, this guy. Mike, I give it to you. The Bills were a better team that day because of injuries.
The next couple of weeks are going to be telltale. We're going to see if the next man up theory can really come through in Detroit.
It's gonna happen.
I'm not leaning one. I'm just saying I just don't have as much confidence as I did as when you guys were healthy. I was picking you guys as a Super Bowl favorite if you stayed healthy. Why? You got the best damn offensive line. You got two damn good wide receivers. You had two great running backs. Please show me what you can take advantage of on Detroit's offense. So then it turned to defense. Your defense was suspect. They played better this year. They got to be top 5. And just when you're building momentum, you lose all these key players. Hutch and McNeil are gone. They're not coming back.
Hey,
That's huge.
Not for nothing, but wasn't you all saying that my defense sucked last year, but we still made it to the NFC Championship?
Because your offense was so great.
And my offense is still great.
They took a hit this week now with David Montgomery.
But we still have
not as great. Still, that's why I think you can win shootouts, but I think you're going to struggle to keep points off the board. You have to play mistake-free football, and you got to get the other team to cough up 1 or 2. If you guys don't turn it over, your offense will keep using the game and give you a chance to win. The problem is your defense might keep the other teams in the game in spite of your offense putting up 35 points. If you put up 35 points, you should win.
Yeah.
Detroit could put up 35 points and lose, as evidenced last week. You know, like the amount of points they scored, they should have won. Most teams win when they score that many points. But Buffalo was able to score so many more because the defense was getting easier and easier as the game went on.
Buffalo puts up points against anybody.
For the
Buffalo beat
more times than not.
Buffalo beat supposedly the best team in the AFC as well. It's not like Buffalo's the Bears or anything. We're talking about Buffalo.
Okay. So the next couple of weeks are going to set the table for what proves to be an exciting playoff run this year.
Hey, wait! Before we go there, you're saying that my team gave up 48 points. Who's the second highest scoring team in the league? Do you know? So the first highest scoring team in the league is Detroit.
It's Cincinnati.
No, the second highest scoring team in the league is Buffalo, a team that puts up points.
Who's the number 1 scoring team in the league?
Detroit.
Detroit's number 1?
Detroit's number 1.
Buffalo's number 2. Cincinnati's up there too. Cincinnati puts up points. They just can't stop nobody either.
But Buffalo's number 2. So you're shitting on my defense like we played against the Bears or somebody.
No, your offense is ranked number 2. Your defense isn't ranked number 2, and your defense lost
my
3 or 4 key players now.
But you're shitting on them like they're terrible. We played against the number 2 scoring team in the league, Steve.
It's not shitting on them.
Yes, you did.
If you take 4 starters out of anybody's offense or defense, they're not the same team they once were. I'm just being realistic about the injuries.
I'm being realistic.
You can't perform the same way you were a top 5 team at one point. With the
so you're saying
I'm
not a top 5 team right now?
in defense.
You said a top 5 team.
Because we were talking about defense. I said, Derek, how could I not? What did I say about your offense? Best offensive line. 2 great running backs. 2 great wide receivers. You don't have no holes on offense. My concern is, can you keep up defensively? Because you might not be able to stop teams like you once could. It's too easy to score. When you take 4 guys off the defense alone, that's too much pressure on the offense, especially when you add in that David Montgomery's not there. But I do believe short term that Jahmyr Gibbs can handle the number 1 row. I just wonder if he can take the pounding of the extra 7 or 8 carries a game he's going to get, because the 12 or 15 carries Montgomery's going to get, 7 will go to the backup, but 5 of those are going to get absorbed. 5 to 7 are going to get absorbed. So can he take that pounding now? Because he has to run and catch.
He did it 2 games last year.
2 games.
Yep.
But Montgomery's not coming back.
Right
he has
now,
to do it from this point on.
Right now we have 3. But we have backups, Steve.
But not performing like Gibbs and Montgomery. But we're going to see. We're going to see. So another football story this week. Atlanta's still in the playoff mix. But old friend and me, Mike, and John. Oh, my battery's running low. The computer needs to be plugged in? It must be loose in the back.
Nah, it's all the way in.
Get anything this way? Sorry, guys. It's just saying the battery's dying, but we got everything plugged in, so I don't know. Got to be something loose. Just give us 1 second. We will be right back in your space. I don't know. Just hit close and see what happens. Because even if we got it closed, does it say what percentage we have? 7:12 now. We got about 45 minutes. All right. While we're trying to figure out how to get this battery back on, we do have the situation in Atlanta. Is Atlanta making the proper call right now by putting Michael Penix in their starter? They're still in the playoff run. They're still, challenging for the division championship. Michael Penix has not played 1 down this year, or he hasn't started 1 game. He's played very, very minimal. And now you're handing him the keys to that offense going down the playoff run. Now, they do have an easy schedule. So they got the Giants and New Orleans and somebody else. They don't have like a winning program that they got to go up against the last 3 games. So this is the perfect time to me for him to get his feet wet. But the message they're sending to Kirk Cousins to me is he's done in Atlanta.
Yeah, how much money are they going to pay him?
Yeah, 3 more years at $45 million a year. Remember, Minnesota backed off because they didn't want to give him the 4th year. He's already 36 years old. I wasn't giving him the 4th year either. He's already deteriorating after year 1. So you still owe him. You still owe him for 3 more years. Who's going to trade for him? And if you cut him, you're still on the hook because it's Captain Kirk. He's got guaranteed money. So he'll be the highest paid backup in the league.